Yo, what's up guys, it's JAEGER here and welcome to the first tutorial on my channel, the trap beat tutorial for beginners. And first I want to say my English isn't great, so sorry for that. Yeah, I've been actually wanting to do this for a long time, but I recently bought a mic a few days ago, so I decided to start beginning with it. So firstly, you need a plucky sound. Nexus is a good plugin for a plucky sound. It has a lot of great sounds, especially for trap beats. And I'm gonna use this one in this tutorial, the Karate Kid in classical. And it probably may sound familiar to you. I used it in my work, in my song work/ASAP. It's a nice sound. And you'll need a kick, an 808, a snare, but I like to layer my snare, so I have 3 of them. A crash if you want, gives it more impact, and a hi-hat. So let's start off with a simple melody. I won't make a too complicated one for now, but I'll just make one. Okay, let's start off. Okay. This will do for now, I think. This is really simple, by the way, but like I said, it's a tutorial for beginners, so yeah, don't expect too much complicated stuff. So you have that. I'm a big fan of reverb, so sorry if it bothers you, but I think reverb sounds great in trap beats. So yeah, so there you have your melody. Just fill it up to 4 bars. And then you'll need a pattern for the 808 and kick. Actually in trap the patterns are pretty common. There isn't much of, I don't know, variation. I mean, there is variation, but like there is still a pattern, a few patterns that you need to use. If you don't, you need to start off with. If you don't use them or start off with them, it just sounds, I don't know, not like trap. So I'll just throw down a very simple one. Yeah, most of you probably know this one actually. It doesn't matter. Okay. And then you do the same with the 808. I'm just settling down the pattern right here, so I'm not actually giving different keys to different notes for the 808 right now. Just wanna see how it sounds like. So I think I'll remove this one. And what I actually do first is like the 808. A lot of people underestimate it, but like in the 808, you need to spend a lot of time to the 808. At least I do, to make it sound really good. Otherwise, it's lazy, you know. So this 808 just sounds pretty basic right now. So you need to pimp it up. And what I like to do is to give it more energy, more mids, more distortion. I use Fruity Blood Overdrive. And firstly, you need to down the gain if you don't want to get death. So yeah, you turn on the X100 thing, and you want to turn this a bit up, and you're gonna start with the amp. That's the most important one. That's what gives it more distortion. So now it sounds really soft because we turn the gain down. So we need to add distortion to it. So how higher you go, the more distortion it has. you don't want too much because it simply just doesn't sound good. So I'll just go around this, and when you use distortion, actually a little bit of the lows go away. I don't know if that's exactly right, but like in my experience, it's kind of is. I always have to boost the lows after I have done the distortion, so there's a lot of mixing in the 808, so don't underestimate the work of it. It took me actually, now it doesn't take much time because I've learned it, but perhaps for some of you it may take some time. So just boost some of this, so it sounds good. So that will do for now, and what I like to do to make my kicks sound, I don't know, harder and make them stay out more is to sidechain it. So let's do that. Let's add a mixer track to it, and I sidechain with the Fruity limiter because it's really easy to use. And so what you need to do is, like, you're at the mixer track of your kick, and you see this little arrow to the top here. You need to right click it, and click sidechain to this track. And then here you wanna open up Fruity limiter here, and you go to comp, the compressor, and you need to turn this all the way up, or like up to 1, and what you need to do is to turn the threshold all the way, not all the way, but like down to like about this, and the ratio up. So like here, if I turn it off, the 808 just goes, but if you turn it on, the 808 kind of goes a little less loud when the kick kicks in. So I like that, and I like to boost some frequencies in the kick too, so I just boost them a little bit by a little bit, not too much. So now you have this, and actually, a tip for you all. I've in the past I've really struggled with the fact that it's really hard to hear if the 808 is out of key or not. So what I always do now is like put it a few octaves up, so you can actually hear what note it's playing. So you hear it's not out of key, so then you can turn it back on. So if you're struggling with seeing if it's out of key or not, just pump it a few octaves up, and there we have it. Okay, then now I'll add a few. Then I'll add some variation to the 808, so it doesn't sound the same all the time. And actually, I really like to work. Well, it's one octave up, or a few actually. Oops, that's the wrong one. And this is pretty cool actually. Slide notes. I'll show you here. it's kind of like legato or mono in silent. Some of you may know it, but like it makes the note slide to another note slide. So not directly, but like it's actually pretty simple. A lot of you may know this. So you hear at the end it goes up to the F key. So that's a cool effect, So yeah, it's actually fun to use it if you want to. So yeah. So you just make it more, I don't know, you add some variation because it sounds better. And actually sometimes the kick may not sound very powerful, so what I just do, it just put it 1 or 2 keys down, or maybe even up, but mostly I need to put it down. So yeah, that's it. Then you put it back on. And actually it's to give the kick even more power and to, I don't know, add more swing or something to the beat. You could also sidechain the synth, the lead. So you just add a mixer track and do exactly the same like you did with the 808 and sidechain to this track and add a fruity limiter to it. So yeah. And again, you're going to sidechain 1 and you're going to do like, you can I don't know, play around with it, like adjust it to how you think it sounds nice, but this is like the basic thing, like where you can start off this. So this here and that there. So it's a bit too much, so turn it up, down a bit. So that's it. And sorry if the mixing isn't very good, because I'm actually using my monitors right now, my KRKs, but they're really quiet. And I can't use my headphones because I have this audio interface here and I can't put my headphones in it because the output is like a smaller bolt or something. I don't know, but I'm using my monitors at very low volume, so sorry if the mixing isn't great. Okay, now we'll move on to the snares. So we have this snare. I like a reverb with no snares. I don't know. A reverb with snares really just sounds good to me, so that's why I'm doing it. You just need to make it how you feel like it should sound. So yeah, I'm gonna add a sound goodizer to it. And what I like to do is, I don't know, you probably don't even notice it, but I know it's best to just cut those lows out because you don't hear them anyway. But perhaps there may be some things, I don't know, I'll just forget it, but I like to do it. And you boost a few frequencies. So yeah, there you have that. And you just add it to add a simple snare pattern. So the snare on itself doesn't sound very powerful, and only turning the volume up isn't gonna help that much. it's gonna help a bit, but not that much. So I'm adding different snares here, and it's actually, I don't know, you can think it can be important to have the all snares on the same key, but you don't notice it too much, you know, not with these kind of snares. Perhaps with future bass kind of snares, like those wood ticking things, it may be very important, but I don't see like why it's that important to have these in key. So yeah, I just don't do it. And add a little reverb to it too. And the same with the other snare. Okay, so now you have these 3 snares, so it sounds kind of decent. So yeah. Okay, and actually what I do is play with these kind of snares, like for example this one. And to add even more, I don't know what it's called. I forgot the word for it. Like to add more variety of things. I don't know. So what I like to do is add some additional snares to make it less boring. It's pretty standard actually. So there you have that. And now you just wanna perhaps duplicate it with the other snare if it sounds good. Let's see how it sounds like. So it sounds pretty decent, okay. Okay, and now let's move on to the hi-hat. The hi-hat is actually a pretty important thing in trap beats. It adds more energy to it, and because it's very fast notes and it's a really high instrument, so it's kind of white noise, like in house, you know. White noise in house adds energy, and the same is with trap. The hi-hat adds energy to it. So I'm gonna just make a simple pattern here. And actually when making trap beats, I mean the sorry, the hi-hat patterns, it's very simpler if you make it while listening to the whole beat to see like if it fits or not. So I'm sorry, my mom is sending a message right now. I need to reply real fast. Okay, sorry for that. Let's go on. make it, and actually want to make it, I don't know, 4 bars, because otherwise it gets too boring. And you don't want that, because then people will notice it real quickly, that you've laid it out, and just make like 2 bars of patterns, higher patterns, and just say, yeah, now fuck this, I'll just let it be like that. So it's actually the best for you to make like 4 or even 8 bars. I'm gonna do 4 for now, of the hi-hat pattern. And it's actually pretty nice. It's pretty generic, but it still sounds pretty cool. To add 2 triplets. Triplets are like 3 notes in 1/4 bar, so like this. And it actually sounds real nice, and a lot of people do it, but still it just sounds nice. So to the last 2 things, 1/4 bars, so you just add triplet, and it sounds really nice. So yeah, that sounds dope, and you can just add a crash to it, and actually it feels it lacks something. So I'm just gonna boost the highs and add a octave, and I'm gonna make another. I'm gonna clone this nexus, because I want a octave higher, but I don't want it to be too loud, so also like add more things to it to layer this lead, this plucky thing. And Nexus has pretty standard but pretty cool bells, so I'm just gonna add one. It's under plucked, and these hands up 1 bells. So you just by the way, what I'm doing right now is like Ctrl C and Ctrl V, just to copy and paste it. Oops. And what I like to do with these kind of plugs is actually just filter them. I don't know why it just sounds weird to me. So you hear a lot of reverb going on. So there. And actually, if you think it still lacks energy, what I do a lot of the times is just add another open hi-hat to it and make it go all the time. So let's see. So I use this one a lot. I just let it go every bar, every half of the bar, sorry. By the way, I know it's clipping a lot, but I know many people say stuff about clipping being bad. I know, I understand it if it's like a house track or some real clean future-based track, but I don't know. I like when it clips in trap beats. Like, it has a nice punch to it, you know? It doesn't always have to sound like clean as fuck, you know? it's sometimes better if it sounds like raw and dirty, you know. So that's my opinion on it, but I don't know, you can decide it for yourself. And to make this thing kind of last longer, I just add reverb to it and put the damp higher. So you have that there, and let's just make it. Okay, so I'm sorry, 1 minute. Okay, then you have that, and I'm just gonna make another pattern with this stuff, and I'm gonna automate this. So if you do this, you need to, if you want to automate something, you need to like tweak on it a bit and then reset it, and just go to tools, lost tweaked, create automation clip. And that's the way that you can, now you can automate it. You can do this with pretty much everything. So yeah, I'm gonna do this same with this. Last week, create an automation clip, and you can just copy. Oh, whoops! You can. I thought you could copy the value. No, never mind. Like you can see here in the top right, 17%. So you can do this the same for this. So yeah. Now I'm gonna add this one. Okay, so I'm gonna make this little snare roll thing here with this snare. So you just make another pattern with it and make a triplet. 2 triplets actually. And by the way, how I'm doing this, like that I can have it everywhere, I just click backspace. So you can do everything with that backspace thing. So that's another tip if you wanted to know. So if you wanted to go up for my, you can just set it. You need to set it on 12 because there's 12 seminotes in a octave. So then you right click it and click create automation clip. And make this really small because it only uses this area actually. And you're just gonna paste this pattern here, and you're gonna make it like this. And if you want to, you can make it like pan from left to right. That's a fun thing to do. So whoops, like this. Actually, you shouldn't do it all the way. That's my opinion, because it doesn't sound that good. So you usually do like 2 blocks of the edge, because it simply sounds better to me, at least. You can suit yourself and do what you want. Okay, and what's pretty fun, like it's without it, it's perhaps a bit too empty, so you can just always filter down for one little moment and then make it go up again. So yeah. Like this. Okay. Like this. So this is a real basic tutorial, but it helps, it may help you out. So yeah, here is the entire beat. And yeah, I'm sorry if this video was a little bit sloppy. This is my first time doing this. This is my first tutorial, so please don't blame me. and actually feedback is always appreciated. Here we go. That was the tutorial, and thanks for watching, guys. And if you like it, please